Christians today are in perpetual free fall through a secular world that pushes relativism for everything. You know, if it feels good, do it. After all, everyone is doing it. Why aren't you doing it? Let's pop into Corinth for a glimpse of how this all got started. For God in His wisdom made it impossible for people to know Him by means of their own wisdom. Instead, by means of the so-called foolish message we preach, God decided to save those who believe. 1 Corinthians 1:21. It was inconceivable to the Greeks that there could be an incarnate God. That disbelief was on full display when Paul preached the gospel in Corinth. They laughed off his message as foolish and considered his delivery as folly, the polite word for stupid. Paul's message dropped in on the Corinthians as foolishness, but it was most certainly God's wisdom and His divine power to grant salvation to those who believe. People living by the world's wisdom do not know God. The Roman Empire ruled the world and held off all challengers, but they could not find God on their own. And it's the same today. People try to find God through technology and its wizardry and wealth. Man's wisdom cannot be trusted because of its finite capacity. God's wisdom demands dependence on Him for everything. When these two forces collide, man's refusal to submit to God's wisdom creates a humility barrier. The world and its human wisdom cannot know God. The only pathway to God is by the supernatural means by which He reveals Himself. Human wisdom breaks down every time in its attempt to know God. What does that mean to a Christian today? We must reject the world. Claiming to be wise, they instead became utter fools. Romans 1:22. What about you? Have you unsubscribed from the world's wisdom? For more Love God, Fear Nothing messages, go to markaffleck.com.